So this is the second in my series of lessons about how to play chords on the keyboard. Hopefully you've already seen number one, where I talked about the way that we work out the three different notes you need to play a major or a minor chord. Quick recap. We find the root note, which is in the title of the chord. Let's take an example of D major. Root note is D. There it is there. To find my next note, I go up 4 semitones, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then to finish off the chord, a further 3 semitones up from there, 1, 2, 3, D major. For a minor chord, and let's go for B flat minor. Here's B flat here, it's in the title of my chord. Minor chord, I first of all go 3 semitones, 1, 2, 3, and then a further 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's my B minor there. And I talked about using fingers 1, 3, 5 or 1, 2, 4 for that shape chord. There'll be a couple of variations coming up in this lesson, which I'll introduce as we go along. And again, I'll remember to use both left and right hand because this skill is useful in both. Okay, enough chat, let's get down to business. We are going to be looking at a thing called inversions. So what we've learned so far is chords in their root position. My first example, C major. There I go, C, E, and G. The lowest of the 3 notes I'm playing is the root note C. Now there are 2 other ways I could possibly play this chord of C major. I've got C, E, G in that order. I could though instead have E as the lowest note, followed by G and C up high. That is called C major first inversion. So I've got the same 3 notes. I've swapped this C for this C higher up, but it's still C, E, and G. Now this is where knowing all the notes and knowing the names is going to be really important, because I need to know the 3 notes that I'm playing and I need to remember them and be able to find them sometimes in different places on the keyboard. Let's look at it another way. I've got C, E, and G with my left hand. I want to go down in pitch, so instead of having G as the highest note, I'm going to go down and have E as the highest note. What are my other 2 notes? G and C. So there's my C, my G is down here. Now that shape is known as C major in its second inversion. That's root position down here, or here. Lowest note is C, that's the important thing. First inversion has the middle of the 3 becomes the lowest one. Notice my choice of fingers 1, 3, 5 for this shape. 1, 2, 4 is still possible. 1, 3, 5 is good. And then my third position, which is called the second inversion. Root position, first inversion. Second inversion has this note as my lowest. And I've got C, E, and G like that. Now notice my choice of fingers for this shape. 5, 2, 1. That's a nice comfortable position. Flat hand, curled fingers, fingers still mostly facing straight up the keyboard. I used that same finger combination when I played my first inversion with my right hand. 1, 2, 5. 1, 2, 4 is possible, a little bit of a stretch. 1, 2, 5 is better. And then for my second inversion up here, all right, root note, next one, G is my lowest note, C and E. 1, 3, 5 is good. 1, 2, 4 is possible. Okay, so let's just try a couple of other examples. Let's take a minor chord. What should we have? What do you reckon? F minor. All right, thank you for suggesting F minor. Find F. There it is. Minor chord, how do we find it? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the notes in the chord are F, A flat, and C. So I'm going to play this in its other 2 possible positions. This is its root position with the lowest note, the root note F. I'm going to move along so that The next one is the lowest note. I'm going to play A flat, C, and what do I need to complete the chord? I need F, but I'm going to play it up high. There it is there. That is F minor in first inversion. And then I've got one more shape I can do. Instead of having F or A flat as my lowest note, I'm going to use C as my lowest note. What are the other two notes I need? F, there it is, and A flat, there it is. F minor. Okay, let's do a different example with the left hand. Let's go for, what shall we say? Let's do C sharp minor, another minor chord. Okay, so there's my C sharp here. How do we build a minor chord? 3 semitones up from the root note, 1, 2, 3, and then 4 more, 1, 2, 3, 4. So saying out loud, what are my 3 notes? C sharp, E, G sharp. So I'm going to play the same 3 notes in a different order. I'm going to have E, G sharp, and C sharp. And my final inversion, I'm sure you've already figured this out because you are super clever. G sharp, C sharp, and E. Now I said this in the first lesson about chords, and it's even more true about inversions. Once you learn a chord, once you get the hang of it, including in one or other of the inversions, you might come across it in a tune or something. You don't always have to look it up. And sometimes you'll have a favorite shape that you use. For example, if I was asked to play the chord of B flat, I'd probably go for that as my first choice. My thumb on F, the 3 notes are B flat, D, and F in its root position. It's like that. First inversion there. I like playing it in its second inversion like that. That's just me. Perhaps it will be different for you. Whatever. We will explore in another video. We'll explore how you would choose to use different inversions, how and why you would make those choices, and then we'll get into the wonderful business of chord sequences. In other words, when you do one chord followed by another, which is where you'd make some decisions about which inversion to use. So another thing I'll encourage you to do when you're working on these chords and inversions is, if you're playing the chord with your right hand, play the root note with your left hand. So there's my example I was doing, my B flat second inversion. I can play a single note B flat down here. I get a really nice full sound. You can in fact do any of the different notes in the chords, spread them out between your 2 hands. That's more advanced options. But for now, if you want a nice full sound, single root note in the left hand, 3 notes in your right. All right, so there you go. That is inversions. I thoroughly recommend taking some time and practicing these. These are very, very, very useful when it comes to playing the keyboard as an instrument to accompany either other instruments or singers, possibly yourself singing. And it's the favorite part of music that I use throughout most of my my keyboard and piano playing. So I hope you find this as useful as I have found it, and there'll be one more lesson where we start to look at chord progressions and which inversion you may select and for what reasons. All right, see you soon.